So welcome back to another episode of the VoIP, guys. Now, as promised, we are going to start actually adding some devices to our Asterix server today. So what that means is we're going to add a SNOM telephone that we've got on the desk, and we're also going to add a soft phone. Now, Matthias, why are we going to add a soft phone?
Because it's cheap.
It's cheap, okay. So that
maybe it does cost nothing.
Okay, so yeah, it's good for testing purposes, whatever. You can integrate as many as you want, and you don't have to pay for the hardware and so on, because you can get free ones online, such as...
X-Lite is a good soft phone to test because it's platform independent. You can use it on almost every platform for testing. Another good telephone for the Mac is Telephone. It's called Telephone. You can download it
from the App Store.
From the App Store. It is also for free. It's not good as productive soft phone, but it's very cool for testing because you can enable as much lines as you want to. And
That's
you have
useful.
Them all in separate windows, and you can build scenarios where you can test one call to another peer and so on.
Okay, so you can basically put as many peers in as you want.
I don't know as many as you want, as many as your machine is able to start. I don't know exactly, but I did never enter a limit.
Okay,
so,
fair enough. So where do we start with adding devices, peers to our server?
Yeah, the first thing is that we have to learn our Asterix server, what peers we want, and what peers to register.
Right.
So we make an entry on the Asterix server, and then we register the telephone to that peer. And we need at least 2 peers because we want to make a telephone call from one phone to another.
So we need 2 peers for testing.
We need 2 peers.
So it's going to
go to the machine.
Use Jan here, our iPad. The film technician is gone. We've got an iPad instead now.
Yeah, that's very cheap now.
So,
okay, we are on the console. Back on our console, we are logged in as root as usual, and we are on our server, and the network is prepared out of our last
which we did last time,
So the first thing is we log into our Asterix console, and we say zip show peers. What you get here is nothing. So there is no peer, and we have to create them. How can we do that? We go out of here. Every configuration about peers and zip in general is done in the zip.conf, which is under etc in the etc Asterix directory. So we go there, and we have a quick look into the zipconf, and you can see it's huge. I can start scrolling 1%, 2%, 3%.
Wow.
So we will not go through the whole
lot.
No, because we're running out of time then.
But you've got a tip here, haven't you?
Yeah. First of all, what is this and why is this so large? They put the whole documentation of the config file into the config file. So our problem is there are some lines which are important and which are doing some configurations, but there are somewhere in there and we don't know
where they are.
So most people are starting with an empty file and putting in the things they want to. But if you want to learn Asterix, then it would be very interesting for you what is configured per default and what should I add then. So I show you a little trick. You just copy zipconf to zipconf oric. And if you want to read the documentation and stuff, then just go to the copy.
The zip.conf.org.
Then we go back to that file. And now we use the magic of VI. You have to learn it, but it is very powerful then. We can say globally we want to delete something, and if the line starts, that means that sign. And if there is a space, one space or no space, or as many spaces as we want, and then it is a comment.
That's a description of some sort.
Then we want to delete that line. So we throw them away.
You can see there that there's 1,427 lines have been removed.
That's a huge documentation. That's a good thing because they have a lot of documentation. But now it's ripped out. We still have 128 lines. And we have a lot of lines where it's nothing in there.
White space.
White spaces. We can remove them also. We say if a line starts and if a line ends immediately, then it seems to be empty.
Okay.
So we can delete them. And that's it. Now we have the, 28 lines,
Yep.
which are really important and really configuration lines in that file.
Okay, so what does this all show us?
Yeah. We will have a general section. This is an important section. There you do all the general stuff. And you can say, in general, I want parameter AB to set to blah, blah.
Okay.
And in other contexts, you can then say, no, I want for that peer, I want something different.
Okay.
But it's a good idea to have a general configuration which is good for you.
Yeah.
And some parameters are only for the general section.
Okay.
The first example is the bind other is on which address of my server should the zip stack listen.
Okay.
And this is on every IP address I have, and this is a general parameter. You
Right.
cannot change it in every context because it's said one time, and then it's okay.
Makes sense.
The first thing we see, the UDP bind other is enabled, and TCP is disabled. What's that? SIP in general is in most cases UDP. The signaling and the transport, also the voice, is in UDP. You can change that to TCP. Asterix can do so. We can make another tutorial about TCP, the advantages, security. It's in many cases it's better, but many devices are not supporting.
But we don't need that right now, so
We
that can be
don't need
in
it.
a
We
later
just
tutorial.
skip it. But the most important configuration setting here is the UDP bind other.
Okay.
We want to add one. That's qualify. Yes.
And what does this one do?
In normal case, if you register a phone to Asterix, he says, hello phone, thank you for registering, and that's it.
Doesn't really care.
He doesn't really care. He does not monitor the telephone. If you say qualify yes, then Asterix tries to qualify how fast can I reach that phone.
If it's available, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, is it available, blah, blah. And if it does not fit our needs, then he disables that peer.
Okay.
If it gets too slow and so on.
Yeah.
You can do many detailed settings about qualifying, but in general, we use the default settings and say just yes, and then it qualifies it.
Okay.
And the default is a very good default.
So a useful little monitoring tool there.
Yeah. Then here we have some special things. Those are macros. You can use those macros in other contexts and just include it.
Yeah.
But they're not used if they're just here and not included in other contexts, then they're just ignored.
Okay.
So it does not matter for our configuration. We can just leave them as they are. And then we create a peer for you and for me. The first peer name is James. And the first thing is to say, are you a friend or not? You are a friend.
Yay.
You are a friend. What does this mean? We have peers and clients and so on. And normally you can say this is a client. He is only allowed to send calls. A peer is receiving calls. Friend means both directions.
Okay.
So we are receiving and sending calls. That's a good setting for a telephone because you want
needs
to.
that, yeah.
You need that. You will need that. Then you need a context. In any case, otherwise you will use the default context. I will explain that later.
Yeah, that will come into our sort of call flow, call
dial plan section.
plans,
If
yeah.
we're talking about dial plans, we need that because a dial plan also has contexts. We will explain that later on. So just trust me, you will need it.
Okay.
Then you need to allow some codecs, usual ALO and ULO and ALO.
These are the standard codecs. They're not high definition. They're just standard for ISDN. Or?
Yeah, that's an ISDN codec. There are two different codecs. Depends on which country you're living.
Yeah.
But it's not so important, so we just enable them. What is a codec? If you have your natural speech, it's analog. Your speech is still analog. And you have to convert it to IP.
Okay.
And the codec is the method you convert it from the natural speech to the IP.
And if, say, for example, I had a high-definition audio handset, like in the E-Link reviews we did last time, what codec would I need here?
A G722.
Okay.
It's a high-definition codec. There are some other high-definition codecs. We can make another tutorial about codecs where you can play around with them. Cool. But for starting, that's okay. The next thing we need is a secret. We need to register to the Asterix server, and therefore we have to provide a secret. Our secret is very secret. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's the baddest idea.
Yeah.
Just plain text password. Asterix is able to make many sorts of passwords, MD5 hashed passwords, start TLS, blah, and so on. We won't use it for our testing. We will make another tutorial about Asterix security.
So this is basically the simplest form of authentication. Yeah.
So we just put it in there. And the next thing is we need the parameter host. And we put in there dynamic. That means we do not know what IP address our SNOM phone or our soft phone will have. It just will register and tell the Asterix server what IP it has.
Okay.
So if you want that, then you just type in dynamic. If you have fixed addresses or you have a peer which is not a phone but the provider, SIP provider, then you could enter
the fixed IP
address, or you can then register. It's too much for now, so for now that is okay. Then we need another peer, because if you're alone,
you can't make it as cool.
Yeah,
it's not so much fun.
No. So I will also be a friend. Then I define a context, phones. This can be the same context. We will see later on why. But for now, just trust me. Elo. The codecs, the secret. I want another secret, because you never know. And the host is dynamic. Oh, typo. Dynamic. That's it.
Save that up.
Save that. Then we, again, I'm not able to type any longer. We go again to the Asterix console, and here we say zip show peers. And no peers at all. Why is this? Asterix does not read the file immediately. That's a good thing. You have to say, now I've finished the changes.
So you can't do live changes and go wrong and things like that. Okay.
So you have to say now zip reload. Then he reloads the files. If you have any errors in your files, then you will be informed now. Okay. Because he's pausing now our zip.conf. And if we did a mistake there, he will warn us now.
Right.
So now we should have those peers, zip show peers. Now you can see we both
are
lucky peers now. And the host is not specified, our status is unknown, so we're not registered at all.
Yeah.
The next thing we do is we go to our SNOM phone and try to register. We failed in the last video, but now we try it again.
Yeah.
Our display name is not important. You can put in there whatever you want. It's just displayed if you're calling the other peer, then he will read in his display your display name.
Yeah.
The account is important.
Yeah, this one's case sensitive, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's the name which you put in brackets, the peer name. It's case sensitive also, yes. And then we have to enter the password. And then we have to enter where we want to register. This is the IP address of our Asterix server. We say apply, save. And now we have a notice that the peer James is now reachable. And here we can say, see it's reachable in 4 milliseconds, and if it's slower than that, he will say it's not reachable, even if it is reachable, but it is too slow. This is the default value.
Okay.
And here you can see now James has that IP. Because of the dynamic host, we are sending our IP address and he's storing it here. We can see the communication port, which is used for the payload then, and you can see that Asterix monitors now the phone. If I plug the phone off, it takes a little while. I think every 30 seconds or every 60 seconds, I don't know the default value. He checks if the phone is still available. And he will deregister it. So this is the first step. The second step is we will start telephone. This is the application I told you. And there we can add as many accounts as we want to. Full name, Matthias. Sometimes it's called domain, but what we're talking about is the Asterix server IP address. We have a username. And now my special secret password.
So secure.
And now my phone is available. Here is my phone. And if you have more phones, as I told you before, then you just get lots of those boxes.
Cool.
Again here, zip show peers. You see my phone is faster than yours. No, why is this? Because here is a network in between, and there is no network in between. You could also say this is not very fast for an ICMP package. If you're using ping or something, then you send ICMP packages. But that's not true in that case, because you're sending a zip option, and the speed here means the whole run through the whole zip stack. So you're sending a zip option package to the device, and then it sends back a package. The whole run through the zip stack takes 6 milliseconds or 1 millisecond. So that's just for the explanation. Then you could have the idea that you now just can dial something. You can, but nothing happens. It says call from Matthias to extension 100 rejected because extension not found in context. There are again those mysterious contexts phones. So we cannot talk to each other. Both peers are registered, and what we now need is the dial plan. But that's
for next
for our
future
next
episode.
tutorial.
So there you have it. Next tutorial will be dial plans. Thanks so much for watching. If you want more information, please visit our website, www.pascom.net. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.